Let us pray. Almighty God, we ask for your blessing and wisdom upon this Parliament, that it can prosper proceedings to the peace and welfare of the people of Throne Hon. We ask this in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. Parliament resumes. Honourable members, the House will now come to order. And hereon, let's proceed with the order of business.
Motions. Motion to thank His Excellency the Governor-General for his address to Parliament.
Thank you, honourable members. Our debate on the motion moved by the Prime Minister will continue today. The floor is open for debate for those who wish to take part. Let me give the floor first to the Honourable MP for North Grove Canal, and I am Chairman for Public Accounts Committee. The floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to stand on behalf of my people of North Gwera constituency, also known as Gaubata, to thank His Excellency for delivering the speech from the throne on the 4th of August 2026. Mr. Speaker, I acknowledge and endorse the speech on behalf of my people. I sincerely acknowledge the current government for its robust policy directions. I am confident that if implemented, these commitments will transform the lives of our people. Before I proceed with my response, on behalf of my people of North Gwera constituency, I would like to congratulate the Honourable Prime Minister on his nomination and election as the new Prime Minister of Solomon Islands in the 12th Parliament. May I also add to congratulate my colleagues who are appointed ministers and reappointed ministers of the Crown. Honourable Prime Minister, through Speaker, my people wish you well in your leadership, particularly with your brand of servanthood, as you stated, and I quote, "We are not your lords, we are your servants." This statement is empowering and reflects our country's motto, "To lead is to save." Mr. Speaker, my people felt that during the Gwera Canal second appointed day, we did not fully witness the commitment in action. We anticipate that our good Prime Minister would come, even if he did not intend to deliver a speech, simply to acknowledge the people and return to his national duties, as explained by his Deputy Prime Minister during the Gwera Canal government speech on the second appointed day. We want to congratulate you, Honourable Prime Minister, during our provincial day. However, your absence prevented us from doing so. The speech from the throne also re-emphasized, "We are not your lords, we are your servants," Mr. Speaker. This statement should not merely remain a slogan. It must be practiced. It must be practiced in leadership. It is an empowering call to all of us members of Parliament to put our nation, Solomon Islands, first and to serve our people with integrity and political honesty. So my brother Prime Minister, through you, Mr. Speaker, whatever political reasons may exist, we will continue to support policies that serve the people. We will also conduct scrutiny of your policies when it is our constitutional duty to do so, ensuring that we advocate for peace, progress, and national unity. I acknowledge the policy direction set out by this great government, and I appreciate the intent behind the great coalition government's commitment as delivered by His Excellency the Governor-General. However, as the function of this House, Mr. Speaker, it is not only for us to endorse policy, but also to test it against the lived realities of the people of Solomon Islands. Mr. Speaker, with reference to the motion before us, I will focus on the implementation gaps we are seeing, particularly in fiscal policy, health policy, mining policy, and I will conclude with a discussion of the fundamental policy on constitutional reform. I will also propose practical mitigations as a way forward. For other policies, Mr. Speaker, I will allow my colleagues to respond, or I will cover them during the motion of Sinidia. Mr. Speaker, as a Member of Parliament for North Guadalcanal constituency, a member of the independent group, and as a chairman of the current Public Accounts Committee, I must emphasize one central point. Good policy must be matched with credible budgeting, measurable outcomes, transparent reporting, and strong public accountability. Without this, Mr. Speaker, even the most well-intended plans will fail to deliver economic growth and public service results that benefit the people of Solomon Islands to whom we sail. His Excellency spoke to us about a sound and sovereign economy driven by mining, fisheries, agriculture, and business services supported by Tina Hydro. Mr. Speaker, the narrative suggests that Tina is already functioning and supporting the economy. However, the truth is that that is not the case. There are no statistics in the speech to confirm His Excellency's claim. The question is, how do we define a sovereign economy when our policies within the great government may mask opportunities that are supposed to reserve for locals? I strongly recommend the Ministry of Commerce and Industry to quickly draft a policy framework to amend the Foreign Investment Act and to also quickly establish the Bank of Solomon Islands as outlined in the government's policy. Policy without actions, Mr. Speaker, remains only statements. Therefore, I recommend that the current government must act more and talk less. Mr. Speaker, regarding the policy statement under the Ministry of Finance and Treasury, I am encouraged to note that there is a provision of a strategic growth fund. My question is, will this policy truly redefine agriculture as the backbone of Solomon Islands, as highlighted by the Minister of Agriculture? I have seen that the budget allocations for agriculture are usually small, and yet we continue to sing the same policy hymn. I hope that your supplementary budget will reflect your policy statements, because financing is much more important than words written on paper. A policy without proper financing is what I would call a pseudo-policy. Mr. Speaker, examining the fiscal policy, I noted gaps between budget promises and economic realities. Solomon Islands requires strong and disciplined fiscal management to drive economic growth. Yet there are clear fiscal policy gaps that must be addressed. Within the policy, there are mismatches between fiscal planning and economic outcomes. For example, low budget allocation to productive sector ministries and higher allocation to service sector ministries. In many cases, spending priorities are stated broadly, Mr. Speaker, but the economic impact on jobs, productivity, and businesses' confidence is not always evident. This creates uncertainty for investors and local enterprises. Recently, I was informed of losses in confidence from Goldridge due to the government reapproach in their export, while your policy relies heavily on Goldridge Mining Limited. Mr. Speaker, I also noted limited targeting spending towards growth-enabling sectors Economic growth depends on infrastructure reliability, skills, logistics, agriculture value chains, and private sector enabling conditions. When physical resources do not consistently prioritize these areas, Mr. Speaker, growth remains weak and uneven. I expected the fiscal policy to create an economic nucleus within the potential to expand to all our provinces. Mr. Speaker, I also failed to see whether there is a mitigation plan to address weak fiscal transparency and performance tracking that exists many years ago within our financial sphere. In my experience as a minister over the past 2 years, when budgets are presented, there is often an internal absence of cash availability within our treasury. Public services executives then struggle to track implementation progress. They experience cost increases and whether funds deliver measurable results. While I support the fiscal policy of this current government, I encourage the government to strengthen its policy translation so that we can see the realities of these policies on the ground. Mr. Speaker, I want to remind this Honourable House that these fiscal policy decisions must reduce risks of continued pressure on revenue and financing. If fiscal policy does not strengthen domestic revenue generation while improving expenditure discipline, the country will remain exposed to volatility in external funding and downturns in key sectors that are potential to grow our economy. This can also increase domestic borrowing pressures, Mr. Speaker, and reduce fiscal space for critical services such as education and health. Mr. Speaker, reading through the fiscal policy, I wish to suggest that we reintroduce growth-linked budget framework. Every major budget line should be tied to a measurable outcome in jobs, productivity, or service delivery performance. This ensures that fiscal spending is not only about disbursement, but about delivery that our people must experience. The people of this country need delivery, Mr. Speaker. I essentially encourage that the fiscal policy of the great government must be translated and implemented to benefit the people of Solomon Islands. Mr. Speaker, I'm encouraged to see fiscal priorities that focus on revenue strengthening measures in this government. I acknowledge the coverage of the fiscal policy, including improvements in compliance system, broadening the tax base fairly, and reduce loopholes that undermine domestic revenue. And I must congratulate the Finance Minister in the month of June that we have seen that there is an increase of more than 156 million in terms of our revenue, which he highlighted that there is reduce of spending. I encourage the Honourable Minister of Finance to translate these statements into improved and enhanced fiscal capacity so that it can finance basic services for our country and our people. I further encourage the Finance Minister to ensure that revenue measures are accompanied by simplified processes that support legitimate government businesses activity so our people can feel the impact of the great coalition, impact of the great coalition government policies. Mr. Speaker, Minister, budget finish a process plan for implementing through the procurement and the tender process takes lengthy time for him to have a finishing project. So in a 12-month financial period for a given budget, hard too much. So please me encourage him if there is a length of the process so that he have implementing more the projects government great coalition. Mr. Speaker, let me now turn to the health policy. Under the government's flagship development programs, I noted the flagship project titled Universal Healthcare. This statement is similar to what we have seen under previous governments. And I acknowledge that this government continues to uphold the universal healthcare approach. Mr. Speaker, in his speech, the Governor-General highlighted health for all. Examining the health policy, Mr. Speaker, I note that the policy is not organized in a systemic manner. Instead, it is reactive, responding to issues such as shortage of medicine. Addressing the supply chain for medicine should be more than a policy discussion, Mr. Speaker. It should be an internal health governance. It should be an internal health governance matter. Mr. Speaker, I expected the health policy to be translated into a more organized policy statements. The statements delivered by His Excellency can only be achieved through the following organized policy framework, not what is currently reflected in the policy statement. And I want to help our government by saying, first, you should write in first time public health policy and exploring public health policy, because public health policy in any given system is the frontier, Hemna frontline preventive medicine. This policy should cover disease control and safety, environment and living conditions, and health access and equity. Time we must have a preventive medicine, then the second policy that them should establish a policy statement, primary health policy, Mr. Speaker. I was expecting an innovative approach from this government to provide essential, accessible, and affordable health services directly to the local communities across Solomon Islands. The primary health policy stated within the policy only states reform, but does not highlight what specific reforms needed and should be prioritized. So my good brother, Minister of Health, revisiting clinical role delineation policy and improving that policy. After primary health policy, M should organize into secondary health care policy, Mr. Speaker. I could not find in the secondary health care policy how the government will improve the secondary health facilities across our country. After that one, then we expecting we have a tertiary health care policy. In the disorganized policy statements here, me looking that they were like improving NRIH, but it's supposed to be under the tertiary health care policy. So, Mr. Speaker, the another one, looking specialized healthcare policy. We already have the comprehensive health facilities that covers 3 subspecialized services, such as cardiology, nephrology, and urology. Now we should capture those services, Mr. Speaker, and we must get one for the policy document under the Ministry of Health, specialized health policy. Those are policies that by improving health services, I believe, Mr. Speaker. Then another one, the health workforce policy. Inside the document, time Minister of Health, I've already done the work strategic plan, but political impasse now, complete him. And I do encourage the current ministers to revisit this one and put it into a policy document. Health work policy, Mr. Speaker, it is important that the ministry manages the health workforce well, as health workers are important and are cornerstone of any given healthcare system. But the current act, Ministry of Public Service, now look after every health workforce. Me also suggest him, no time, but him not, it's a work to be done is the commission, the health commission, so that them have a look after over the own worker man blohem. Another one, Mr. Speaker, health infrastructure policy. Health building are not the same as domestic building, Mr. Speaker. In the policy, I haven't seen, or maybe it will be in the translation matrix. Health infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, is not an ordinary building. It cannot be handled under the Ministry of Infrastructure because health infrastructure is designed different from the domestic public infrastructure. Though public infrastructure under the Ministry of Infrastructure and Development, Mr. Speaker, he asked him that IME must also come up and improve in building standard codes for meeting or the codes or the standards for health facilities for Milo Country. Another one that is quite vague in the policy statement, Mr. Speaker, is health financing policy, Mr. Speaker. These policies should clearly state how the health financing operate. I understand, Mr. Speaker, that the Ministry of Education has a special fund account. The current Minister of Finance himself suggested that health should guarantee now special account fund. I suggest and encourage that this government please take our cabinet paper, go back and suggest him for health guarantee on health financing, but it must be guided under the health financing policy. Ninth recommendation, Mr. Speaker, is the legislative reforms. Within the policy statement, Mr. Speaker, I failed to identify which one should be reformed first. Mr. Speaker, the core statements I have mentioned will improve the quality of healthcare in Solomon Islands. It also concerning that the existing policy of this great government have ignored the health financing policy, though it's must conveyed in the policy statement. And health financing is the foundation for improving healthcare services in Solomon Islands. Mr. Speaker, during my time as a minister 2 years ago, I advocate for health financing in both domestic and international engagement. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I seek your authority and sincerely request the great government to recognize and rewrite the health policy if we truly believe in health for all as delivered by His Excellency the Governor-General. Mr. Speaker, I support the legislative reforms for the Ministry of Health and Medical Services. Let me remind the great coalition government that there are 13 acts of parliament that govern our healthcare services. However, the policy under legislative reforms did not specify which act should be amended. I respectfully request my good friend, the Honourable Minister for Health, to first amend the Health Service Act as the central act within the Ministry of Health. This amendment will address issues in our health services. Second, I encourage the minister responsible to revisit the priorities of the ministries in the legislative reforms. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of my people, let me now turn to the mining policy. I thank the government for its policy reforms in the mining sector. I also thank those who developed those policies because they provide opportunities for local engagement and participation. It appears that this great government will heavily rely on the mining sector to build its physical envelope. According to the Central Bank of Solomon Islands, gold exports in 2025 were valued at approximately $3.025 billion, equivalent to USD 378 million. From this amount, the government receives approximately SBD 952 million in revenue, comprising SBD 45.35 million in royalties, which is equivalent to 1.5%, and SBD 907 million in taxes, which 30% equivalent to contribution to the national purse. It is likely that the government will allocate part of the tax revenue to fund a sovereign wealth fund. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, I ask how such a sovereign wealth fund will empower the people of Guadalcanal and other provinces and other resource owners who allowed their land to be mined. In addition, Mr. Speaker, in 2025, the same year, palm oil exports were valued at USD 227 million. Mr. Speaker, Guadalcanal province also contributes 74% of the country's total cocoa production in 2025. With these statistics, Mr. Speaker, I suggest that the government, that if we are truly serving our people, then we should create a provincial wealth fund instead of a sovereign wealth fund. This approach will empower our resource owners, reflecting one of the pillars of the Great Coalition empowerment. A sovereign wealth fund would be heavily dependent on mining. I therefore suggest that this initiative should instead be built through sustainable industries rather than extraction-based industries such as mining, Mr. Speaker. Like say, I no rely, I look in policy based on mining. I look to farming, look to other things to contribute to this sovereign wealth. Because mining is an infinite industry, it's an extracting industry. We should rewrite that policy, not only entirely depending on mining, but on other industries, sustainable industries. Mr. Speaker, I further suggest that the Great Coalition Government build a sovereign wealth fund with more inclusive investment. Mr. Speaker, let me now turn to the fundamental sector policy statements. I wish to congratulate the Office of the Prime Minister for your hard work and for the successful development of these policy statements. On behalf of my people, I fully endorse your initiative for constitutional reforms. I also endorse the bipartisan approach to the draft federal constitution for the people of this country. My question to the Great Coalition Government is, when will these constitutional reforms will begin and implemented? My people want state government, and I will endorse this policy statement and wish to request that this government, that the state for the people of North Guadalcanal is not negotiable. If we are truly servants, then we must give back what belongs to the Lords, Mr. Speaker. I must thank the Honourable Prime Minister for considering this utmost need to the people of Guadalcanal through this policy for constitutional reform. In conclusion, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my honourable colleagues, for listening, and may God continue to bless our respective villages, constituencies, provinces, and Solomon Islands from south to south. I thank you. With this, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity given to me so you hear the voice from North Guadalcanal. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I resume my seat.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me now give the floor to the Honourable MP for North New Georgia. You have the floor, sir.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on the motion moved by the Honourable Prime Minister on Wednesday, the 5th of August, 2026, that an address be presented to His Excellency the Governor-General as follows. We, the National Parliament of Solomon Islands, here assembled, beg leave to offer thanks for the speech which has been addressed by you to Parliament on the 4th of August, 2026. But firstly, Mr. Speaker, allow me to congratulate the Honourable Member for South New Georgia, Rendowan Tetipare, for his election as Deputy Speaker of this House. This is a very special moment for my honourable colleague. He follows the footsteps of his late uncle, the late Sir Lloyd Maipezagina, a former Speaker of National Parliament of Solomon Islands. I wish him well. Secondly, I wish to congratulate the Honourable Premier, the Executive and the Provincial Government and people of Makira Province for their second appointed day this month. I wish them well. Similarly, sir, I wish to congratulate the Premier, the Executive and Provincial Government and people of Guadalcanal Province on their 42nd appointed day. Mr. Speaker, the Guadalcanal 42nd second appointed day celebration has raised the standard of celebration to a new height. They have truly and honestly demonstrated that the island of Guadalcanal is a caring host and a people as loving and selfless. I commend them for all that they have done and for the sacrifice, time, and effort they offer to make the day a truly memorable one. Say, this is an example of how governance and culture binds its people. If the celebration was a football match, say, the Guadalcanal 42nd Second Appointed Day celebration was a curtain raiser to the Solomon Islands' 58th anniversary celebration in 2028. There are lessons that could be learned, and we must learn quickly. Let me now turn to the speech from the throne. Mr. Speaker, I join others who have spoken before me to thank His Excellency for his address. Say, I am to reaffirm the commitment of the Great Coalition to the principles and aspirations that has been placed before our people and this Honourable House by His Excellency the Governor-General on the 4th of August 2026. Ministers had spoken, and others will speak later on their ministerial programs and policies. My intervention will be in general and brief. Mr. Speaker, the Great Coalition has identified 6 fundamental pillars that will guide our national journey. I need not repeat them. Sir, these pillars are not promises, nor respective ministerial policies and programs. They are framework for national development. They provide direction, establish priorities, and set clear benchmarks. They are a roadmap for governing. They are standards against which the government must be assessed and measured throughout its term in office. These pillars are not only the foundation of our policies, they are also the measure of our integrity, our performance, and our service to the nation. Mr. Speaker, the policies and programs outlined in His Excellency's speech advance these pillars because they serve national interests. Nonetheless, Mr. Speaker, where implementation falls short, we will not hesitate to remind ourselves of the standard we had set for ourselves. This is not failure, it is responsible oversight. On this note, I concur with the statement by the Honourable Prime Minister that the Great Coalition welcomes scrutiny and constructive oversight. We encourage this Parliament, our institutions, the civil society and the citizens of Solomon Islands to use these pillars as benchmarks to monitor progress and to hold the government focused and accountable in the implementation of policies, programs, and legislation. Mr. Speaker, the speech from the throne is more than a ceremonial address. It is a blueprint outlining priorities, programs, and commitments, a specification of what is to be assessed and measured. It is a lighthouse providing clear direction to navigate safely through stormy waters and uncertain times. It's a benchmark against which the performance of government can be measured, and as a beacon, reminding us of our obligations to the people and keeping us focused on national interest. Mr. Speaker, our people deserve more than good speeches. They deserve results. Results They deserve to see laws that uphold justice, public institutions that are transparent and accountable, an economy that creates opportunities while protecting our environment, security that safeguards our sovereignty, quality education and healthcare that develops our people, communities that live in peace and unity, and infrastructure that connects and transforms our nation. Mr. Speaker, the speech from the throne rightly places our national interest at the center of government's agenda. I therefore wish to place on record that the sovereignty of this nation is not a matter for negotiation or compromise. It belongs to our people. The Great Coalition holds that principle. We have inherited this sovereignty from those who came before us, and we hold it in trust for generations yet unborn. On this matter, I believe there should be no division in this honorable House, whether we sit on the government benches or the opposition benches. We are first and foremost custodians of the sovereignty of Solomon Islands. Whenever there is an attempt to undermine our sovereign rights or intrude upon our independent decision-making, this Parliament must stand together with one voice and one purpose. At the same time, Mr. Speaker, when opportunities arise to strengthen our sovereignty, protect our national interest, expand our economic independence, secure our borders, or build partnership that respects our independence and mutual benefit, we must embrace those opportunities with confidence and wisdom. Mr. Speaker, our foreign policy should always be guided by one enduring principle: friends to all, enemies to none. Partnership with all, Mr. Speaker, submission to none. We welcome cooperation with every nation that respects our sovereignty and the sovereign will of the people of Solomon Islands. Political differences may come and go. Governments may change. But our commitment to defend the independence and sovereign right of Solomon Islands must remain absolute. The Great Coalition is committed to this principle, preserving the sovereignty, independence, and dignity of Solomon Islands and Solomon Islanders. Mr. Speaker, that is the spirit of the speech from the throne. It is in that spirit that I support the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable MP for North. Also, let me give the floor to the Honourable MP for East Kwayo, and I'll suspend for you to rebuild to seat, start standing order 32. I will not apply for you to stand. You can deal with your speech sitting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You look several of me to make my contribution on behalf of the people of Kwayo, East Kwayo, in this floor of Parliament. Me also like to thank him, Prime Minister, for moving this great motion for me, so I contribute to him. And to say thank you to His Excellency. As it reads, that an address be presented to the Excellency the Governor-General as follows. We, the National Parliament of Solomon Islands, here assembled, beg leave to offer thanks for the speech which has been addressed by you to Parliament
on 4th August 2026. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me thank His Excellency the Governor-General where he come here and delivered the speech from the throne to his chamber. He has the mandate and the constitutional representative of His Majesty, Head of State of our independent and sovereign nation, for fulfilling his duty in presenting the speech from the throne. He has clearly set out the strategic policy direction and priorities, and this government will pursue when in office. Mr. Speaker said, I shall not dwell much on the speech from the throne because something about ministers and members of parliament who have spoken before me, I'll tell them now. But I will wish to make a few comments on the 4 ministries. I wish to thank those who have contributed in this parliament. My first point is on the Ministry of Infrastructure and Development, as stipulated in the speech from the throne. Me noting, Mr. Speaker, the speech from the throne that all key roads and bridges across our constituencies and our provincial centers by him constructed, repaired, and properly maintained by the government. This one is a good policy because it touches the heart of many people in the rural area and in the center of this country. In the maritime sector, Mr. Speaker, sir, me committee government, me committee plan the government for establishing proper, resilient wharves across all provinces. Solomon Island, heavy nation covered by vast waters and many islands, separated by ocean. Reliable marine infrastructure have absolutely necessity for every constituency. You sabe, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are separated by seas. And I think both of them are very important. Because when shipping, we take them goods from one place to another, need to be anchored at the wharf, safe and secure for the traveling passenger as large. You sabe, Mr. Speaker, currently some places locally believe me. Aku tak ada proper wharf saja. for seldom of the goods here, for ship from Agar, no more. And so, sometimes over the goods me wet time of the lifting from ship. So it is a welcoming news to the populace of this nation. Ministry of Aviation, regarding aviation infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, sir, we please for note him that works having start law sample airport. Misave, the last Minister of Aviation, him not Minister of Aviation this time. The last government, he announced him Fovala airport for repair. And we hear him atowi inside now. Thank you now, last government and this government, and we continue to carry him out. But you know, Mr. Speaker, me appeal to the landowners where these important developments have taken place. Please do allow your land so that the government would be able to establish what the national project here, low land for Ifwala. Any development by take place on land, yeah, not to air or even the sea, but most of the development by take place on land. No spoiling of the development of the very important development here. Allow them to continue to work. Contractors, the government, and the people. Mr. Speaker, sir, my third ministry is, and to make my comments on the third ministry, is the Ministry of Rural Development. Whatever policy is brought to the House by any government, governments in the past, government at the present, and in the future, must reflect the people of this nation. And so, we thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Ministry of Rural Development is the ministry in which touches the hearts of the rural people, have direct funding to members of parliament and to the constituencies, have building school, Mr. Speaker, clinics, even housing too, for our rural populations to settle down with their family inside. It can also address the generating income projects, trade stores, fishing, and so forth, Mr. Speaker. So, this is very important. But one thing, Mr. Speaker, we like to thank him, the government too, for the last government in 2023 for the Act of Parliament with regards to RCDF. Very important, yeah? That is the direct funding that have come from government to members of parliament, to the constituency office, and to the applicants. Mr. Speaker, I am sorry. I'm sorry. Some people, take something, hey, man, had something here. You shall have what here? The government looking the need. You're not giving us something here. For the projects here through MRD. So, Mr. Speaker, people in me salem or something, be careful. Law government 2023 law have been set out very clear. Look at something, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker said, my last point, Hemlo agriculture. Hospitalemia, we were so contributed. Agriculture sector remains the absolute backbone of this nation. It is an inclusive sector where men, women, youth, or the beginning, they can participate together to producing copras for the food security and the livelihood. We take a look at this one. I think agriculture is very important because everyone can participate. They can plant, they can harvest, whatever they plant. I will take this opportunity to thank the hard-working officers, public officers of the government for the good work they have done in implementing policies of the previous government, the present government, and any government of the day. We like to thank you, Lord. They are hardworking. Any policy, by good. Any policy that is set, have only good, as long as our hard-working officers are implement the policies of the ministries. Once no more by heart. So we like him take him Okata for the good work. Officers in the provinces and public officers in Honiara. We like to thank him, everyone. Once again, we like to thank him, the Prime Minister, for seeing fit to move the motion so that we can able to thank His Excellency. Thank you, His Excellency the Governor-General. You grace me, fella, lo speech from the throne, lo Tuesday, 4th of August, 2026. Thank you, and may God bless Solomon Island. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable MP, for this prayer. Let me give the floor to the Honorable MP for East Malaita and Minister for Home Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to contribute to the motion of thanks on the gracious speech delivered by His Excellency the Governor-General at the opening of this fourth meeting of the first session of this 12th Parliament. And I'll thank the Prime Minister for moving this motion. Before contribute to the motion, I would like to congratulate, on behalf of my people of Ismailita, the new Deputy Speaker. We congratulate him and wish him well for a new duty blame as a Deputy Speaker. Also, I would like to congratulate provinces that have celebrated their second appointed days, and we'd like to congratulate Gogoragana province, where I'm celebrating second appointed day blame finish, and also the Makira province. And I'm looking forward to next week to continue to celebrate with my people, Malaita province, for our second appointed day, number 15. At the outset, I joined honorable members in expressing my sincere appreciations to His Excellency for outlining the government priorities and legislative agendas. The matters entrusted to the Ministry of Home Affairs are central to nation building, good governance, national identity, and social cohesion. Mr. Speaker, in the speech from the throne under the theme National Identity, Civic Life, and the Golden Jubilee, His Excellency has outlined the government's priorities for strengthening the institutions that foster national identity, promote civic responsibility, and prepare our nation for one of the most significant milestones in our history, the celebration of the 50th anniversary of independence in 2028. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the parliamentary and judiciary autonomy, I wish to express my strong support for the commitment outlined by His Excellency the Governor-General to advance the autonomy of both Parliament and the judiciary. The reforms are fundamental to strengthen our democracy, upholding the rule of law, and reinforcing the constitutional principle of the separation of powers. An independent Parliament is better equipped to fulfill its constitutional responsibilities of lawmaking oversight and representing without undue administrative or financial constraints. Likewise, an autonomous judiciary strengthens public confidence by ensuring that justice is administered impartially, efficiently, and independently. These reforms are not about ensuring that each arm of government has the institutional capacity, financial certainty, and administrative independence necessary to discharge its constitutional functions effectively, while remaining accountable to the people of Solomon Islands. Mr. Speaker, sir, I believe the great government is therefore committed to progressing the legislative, institutional, and administrative reforms required to give practical effect to parliamentary and judicial autonomy. These include strengthening governance arrangements, establishing appropriate financial management framework, and ensuring that both institutions are equipped to manage their own affairs in accordance with the Constitution and the principles of good governance. Mr. Speaker, sir, indeed, these reforms represent a significant step in the continued maturation of our democratic institutions. They will promote transparency, accountability, and institutional resilience, while reinforcing public trust in the governance of our nation. Mr. Speaker, sir, by empowering Parliament and the judiciary to exercise their constitutional mandates with great greater independence. We are strengthening the foundations of democracy and ensuring that our institutions remain capable of serving both present and future generations of Solomon Islands. National Identification Management System. Mr. Speaker said, His Excellency has rightly highlighted the government's commitment to establishing a national identification management system. This is a transformative reform that will provide every Solomon Islander with a secure and legal recognized identity. As an administrative convenience, a trusted national identity system is a cornerstone of modern governance. It should improve access to government services, strengthen electoral integrity, enhance national security, support financial inclusion, improve disaster response, and enable more effective planning and service delivery across the country. Mr. Speaker, sir, to support this reform, the government will introduce the Civil Registration Bill, which will establish a comprehensive legal framework for the registration of births, deaths, and other vital life events. Together with the National Identification Management System, these legislations will create an integrated civil registration and identity management framework that reflects international best practice while meeting the unique needs of Solomon Islands. The Ministry will continue working closely with development partners, provincial governments, and other stakeholders to ensure that implementation is inclusive, secure, and accessible to all citizens. Mr. Speaker, sir, a strong nation is built not only on sound institutions, but also on active civic participation. The great leadership, therefore, had emphasized reforms in both government and integrity institutions and civil participation. In non-government organizations, Mr. Speaker said, the Ministry therefore is committed to modernizing the legal and policy framework governing NGOs, non-government organizations. Civil society organizations play an important role in community development, humanitarian assistance, advocacy, and social services. Having a modern NGO framework will improve accountability, transparency, and collaboration while preserving the independence and valuable contributions of civil society to national development. Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry will therefore advance reforms to ensure there is a meaningful engagement between NGOs, the government, and our people. On the funerals, burials, and cemeteries, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would also like to highlight the Ministry's commitment to advancing policy and legislative reforms on burial and cemetery management. As our population continues to grow and urban centers expand, there is an increasing need for a modern, well-planned, and suitable framework to guide the management of burial sites throughout our country. These reforms will provide clear standards for the establishment, administration, and maintenance of cemeteries, while addressing important considerations such as public health, land use planning, environmental protection, cultural and religious sensitivities, and the long-term availability of burial spaces. In doing so, the government seeks to ensure that burial and cemetery management is undertaken with dignity, respect, in a manner that meets the needs of both present and future generations of Solomon Islanders. Strengthening the governance of Honiara City. Mr. Speaker, the government's commitment to strengthening the governance of our Honiara, our capital city, is both timely and necessary. The review of the Honiara City Act presents an opportunity to modernize the governance arrangements of our national capital so that it reflects the realities of rapid urban growth, increasing service demands and future development. So what the residents of Honiara City are experiencing today is deeply concerning. As the national capital and the face of our country, Honiara should reflect the aspirations, pride and progress of Solomon Islands. Indeed, many of our citizens are confronted daily with challenges that undermine their quality of life and diminish the image of our capital, Mr. Speaker. The city is increasingly characterized by poor sanitation, unmanaged waste, deteriorating public infrastructure, and urging public facilities that are struggling to meet the demands of our rapid growing urban population. Many roads are congested and poor condition. Drainage systems are inadequate. Public spaces are poorly maintained, and essential municipal services have not kept pace with the city's expansion. These challenges are not merely aesthetic. They have directed implications for public health, economic productivity, environmental sustainability, and public safety. Mr. Speaker, there is also a growing perception that order and discipline within the city are weakening. Excessive public noise, particularly during the late hours of the night, continues to disrupt neighborhoods and deprive families of peace and security in their own homes. The unchecked use of loud music and other forms of public disturbance demonstrates the need for longer enforcement of municipal bylaws and greater respect for the rights of others. Equally troubling is the increasing incidence of alcohol abuse, which has becoming a significant contributor to antisocial behavior, domestic violence, disorderly conduct, and public disturbance. Closely associated with this is the rise in petty theft and other minor criminal activities that affect ordinary citizens, businesses, and visitors alike. These offenses erode public confidence, discourage investment, and create a climate of insecurity that is inconsistent with the aspirations of a modern capital city. Mr. Speaker, these issues cannot be viewed in isolation. They are symptoms of broader challenges associated with rapid urbanization, population growth, unemployment, inadequate urban planning, limited housing, and increasing pressure on municipal services. Addressing these challenges requires modern reactive enforcement measures. It demands a coordinated national response involving the Honiara City Council, the Governor-General Province, the Royal Somaliland Police, relevant government ministries, traditional leaders, churches, communities, and the private sector. It is therefore timely that His Excellency has announced the government's commitment to review the Honiara City Act, strengthen the city's governance arrangements, improve financial management, enhance waste management to partnership with Governor-General Province, and extend essential services to informal settlements. These reforms provide an important opportunity to modernize the governance of our capital and establish a framework that is responsive to the current realities and future growth. Honiara as a municipal boundary is the political, administrative, commercial and diplomatic center of some islands. It is the city that welcomes our visitors, hosts our national institutions, and represents our nation to the world. We therefore have a collective responsibility to ensure that Honiara is clean, safe, orderly, resilient, and well managed. The transformation of Honiara City will therefore require bold leadership, hard decisions, and effective partnerships. If we are to build a capital city worthy of our nation's future, we must act decisively today to restore order, improve infrastructure, strengthen public services, and create a city that every Solomon Islander can be proud to call their capital. As such, the government must ensure that the Honiara City Council and the Governor Provincial Government must engage and work in close partnership to address the complex challenges facing our capital. Sustainability solutions can only be achieved through coordinated planning, shared responsibility, and effective collaboration between the two authorities, supported by relevant government ministries. Together, they must strengthen financial management, improve municipal administration, enhance waste management systems, and expand the delivery of essential public services to informal settlements and other rapidly growing urban communities. In terms of the national security and law order within the city, we must double our efforts to ensure we protect our people from all sorts of harm. I believe we will need to enhance our support to our enforcement at the Honiara City level. We must support them so that they can enforce public law and order within the city. Mr. Speaker, sir, those reforms recognize that the effective governance of Honiara is a national priority requiring coordinated action across all levels of government. The Ministry of Home Affairs stands ready to embark into these national undertakings. Sir, on sports and national unity, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to talk about sports. In fact, the Ministry of Home Affairs is responsible for sports development in our country. Sports, Mr. Speaker, sir, continues to unite our people, regardless of province, language, or background. It is a fundamental uniting factor for our people. Therefore, the development of national sports within our national culture and the reform of the National Sports Councils towards a stronger institutional foundation for sports development across the country must happen. The government will hold our sport bodies into account and require a high level of commitment and standards from all sporting bodies. Mr. Speaker, sir, the government's commitment to invest from grassroots participation through elite performance recognizes that sport contributes not only to the athletes' excellence, but also to youth development, healthy lifestyle, social inclusion, and national unity. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm undermined as the minister responsible for sport to see our athletes excel and win medals and be successful citizens in our communities. Hence, we need strong sports administrations and we need to develop sports infrastructure in our provinces. Mr. Speaker, sir, therefore, under the great government, we will be seriously looking into building sport infrastructures in our provinces in the immediate future. Sir, we will do what we have to do to develop sports and help our young people to be better citizens. I hereby confirm that the ministry will work with sporting federations, schools, provincial governments, and community organizations to strengthen sports governance and expand opportunities for participation throughout Solomon Islands. On the Golden Jubilee of Independence, Mr. Speaker, perhaps no initiative carries greater national significance than preparations for the 50th anniversary of our independence. in 2028. The Golden Jubilee is a celebration of 50 years of nationhood. It is an opportunity for every Solomon Islander to reflect upon our shared history, honor the sacrifice of our founding leaders, celebrate our cultural diversity, and renew our commitment to national unity and development. Sir, the Ministry of Home Affairs will lead and coordinate preparations through a comprehensive national implementation framework that will involve all ministries, provincial governments, churches, traditional leaders, civil society, the private sector, and our development partners. Preparations will extend beyond ceremonial events to include programs that strengthen national identity, preserve our historical heritage, promote civic responsibility, engage young people, and leave a lasting legacy for the future generations. Sir, I believe the Golden Jubilee will inspire every citizen to renew our shared commitment to peace, unity, democracy, and inclusive national development. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the initiative outlined by His Excellency the Governor-General, especially those that are under the responsibility of the Ministry of Home Affairs, has demonstrated the government's commitment to building stronger institutions, strengthening national identity, and improving the lives of our ordinary people. Therefore, the Ministry of Home Affairs stands ready to implement these reforms diligently and in partnership with all stakeholders through sound legislation, effective institutions, and inclusive national programs. We will continue to build a stronger, more resilient, and more united Solomon Islands. With those remarks, Mr. Speaker said, I commend His Excellency's gracious speech to the Honourable House and pledge the full support of the Ministry of Home Affairs in delivering these important national priorities. May God bless Solomon Islands. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Let me give the floor to the MP for South Guadalcanal. You have the floor, sir.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for recognizing the voice of South Guadalcanal constituency and for allowing me to contribute to the motion to present our thanks and respond to the speech from the throne. Let me begin by thanking His Excellency the Governor-General, Sir David Tiva Kapu, for discharging his important constitutional role in our sovereign state of Solomon Islands on behalf of His Majesty King Charles III in opening this fourth meeting of the first session of the 12th Parliament. Allow me also to congratulate a Honourable Prime Minister for his election to the highest political office of this country, and to congratulate the people of his constituency for having the member entrusted with that office. Mr. Speaker, it is with great respect that I rise today on behalf of my people to respond to the speech from the throne delivered by His Excellency. Before I turn to the substance, let me make my position plain so that nothing I said this morning is misunderstood. Where the policy of this government genuinely advances the socio-economic well-being of the people of South Guadalcanal and the people of Solomon Islands, I will support them. But supporting the government where the government is right does not mean surrendering my constitutional responsibility as a member of this House. Where policy requires scrutiny, I will scrutinize them. Where expenditure requires justification, I will ask the question. Where legislation requires improvement, I will propose amendment. And where the action of government is contrary to the national interest, I will speak. That is not hostility, Mr. Speaker. That is democracy. That is Parliament. That is the duty entrusted to every one of us by our people. Mr. Speaker, every member of this House brings a measuring stick to a speech from the throne. Mine is not an abstract one. I represent a constituency on the south of Guadalcanal, a coastline where the sea decides whether a patient reaches a clinic, where the weather decides whether a bag of copra reaches a buyer, and where the nearest bank, laboratory, and court are all on the other side of the mountain range. So when I read the 6 pillars set out in the speech from the throne, I do not ask first whether they are good pillars. Most of them are obviously good. I, however, wish to ask the following: how will they be financed? And how will they implement them? When they will be implemented, this legislation is required. What measurable result will the people of South Guadalcanal actually see? And most importantly, what in this program is genuinely new, and what is continuation of work already commenced by previous government? That distinction matters, Mr. Speaker, and I will return to it. While I appreciate the intention of the government to address national development and to outline a vision for our beloved Solomon Island, I must express some concern and reservation grounded in the reality faced by our people in a historical context of promise of this kind. Mr. Speaker, first and foremost, I wish to acknowledge that many of the policy highlighted in the speech, the push for economic growth, infrastructure development, tax reform, and social program are not new. They are largely paraphrased from the policy of the previous government, notably the DCJ and Chenat administrations. The value tax added legislation, the review of Income Tax Act, the reform of state-owned enterprises, the rollout of Education Act 2023, the implementation of the Public Service Act 2025, the Constituency Development Act 2023, Tina Hydro, the broadband towers, the control towers at Honiara and Muda. None of these began in 2026. Mr. Speaker, I say this not to diminish the government. I say it because our people deserve political honesty. If a program was started by a previous administration, acknowledge it. If this government improves it, take a credit for improvement. If this government completes it, take a full credit for the completion. But let us not rewrite the record. National development is a relay race, not a contest of political ownership. One government carries the baton, another receives it. Another may take it further. The ultimate winner must not be a political party. The ultimate winner must be Solomon Island. It is therefore, Mr. Speaker, my hope that this government will not fall into that trap of merely continuing business as usual under a new banner without genuine, measurable action. The people of South Guadalcanal have been many promises before. The true test will be in implementation and accountability. Mr. Speaker, before this House debate any single policy in the speech, it must confront the arithmetic that sits underneath all of them. Our national budget hovers in the range of $4 to $5 billion, carried by small and narrow revenue base. The latest assessment of the International Monetary Fund provides sobering context. The economy is estimated to have grown by about 3.5% in 2035, supported by gold production, agriculture, and infrastructure works. But growth is projected to slow approximately 2.6% in 2026, with inflation projected at about 5.4% and a fiscal deficit approximately 4.1% of GDP. The fund was warned of depleted cash buffers, revenue uncertainty, and financial constraints, and has recommended realistic and fully financed budget, the rebuilding of cash reserves, stronger tax administration, no further delay to VAT reform, and better management of mineral resources revenues. Mr. Speaker, those numbers should sober all of us on both sides of this chamber. We cannot promise everything to everybody without answering the questions of government. Where will the money come from? I therefore apply a simple standard to every commitment in the speech. A policy without financing plan is an aspiration. A policy with a financing plan is a program. A policy with financing legislation, a responsible institution, measurable target, and a public reporting is governance. That is the standard I will hold this government to, and it is the standard I invite every member of this House to apply. Mr. Speaker, on the matter of increasing remuneration for public servants, I share the concerns that such promise, however well-intentioned, could strain an already fragile economy. The speech commits the government to comprehensive remuneration reform, a phased public servant pay rise, a review of salary structure, strengthen non-cash benefits, and a task force towards a higher salary commission with enabling legislation possibly in 2027. Let us be responsible about what that means. A salary increase is not free money. Every increase in the public service wage bill must ultimately be financed by the taxpayer, by economic growth, by improved revenue collections, by grants, or by borrowing. There is no fifth source, Mr. Speaker. Our national budget and our low GDP cannot sustain large wage increase without risking inflation or deepening the deficit, the very deficit the IMF has already flagged. Therefore, salary reform must be physically adoptable within the medium-term fiscal frame, sustainable beyond the term of any one government, linked to productivity and to service delivery, support by proper workforce planning, fair as between Honiara and the provinces, and accompanied by genuine performance and accountability. Mr. Speaker, I want to go further than criticism and offer a constructive proposal. Rather than across-the-board increased finance from an already strained recurrent budget, I urge the government to examine target tax reform, including categorization of personal income tax by income level among public servants, so that relief is redirected to the lower grade officers who needs it most, and so that the reform eases pressures on the household budget without unsustainably to the wage bill. That is a reform which costs the state far less than a general pay rise, and which delivers more to the nest at Marau, the teachers at Abu High School, and the police at Tetere than a headline percentage ever bill. Mr. Speaker, our public servants deserve more than political promise. They deserve sustainable remuneration system. Mr. Speaker, I turn to the flagship of the government social program. The promise of free education has generated genuine joy among my constituency, South Guadalcanal, where families are already anticipating relief from school fees next year. I do not stand here to take that hope away from them. Mr. Speaker, I want the record to show that no members of this House opposes the aspiration. No child in Solomon Islands should be turned away from the classroom because of the poverty of their parents. On that, this House is united. But I must caution that such policy, if not carefully managed, risks compromising the quality of education and the ability of our schools to deliver effective learning. The manner of the announcement, Mr. Speaker, before I come to the substance of the policy, I must say something about the manner in which it has been announced. I say it with full respect for the office of the Prime Minister, but I say it plainly because someone in this chamber must. A commitment of this magnitude has been placed before the nation as a declaration rather than as a plan. This is dangerous. Mr. Speaker, our people do not read cabinet papers. They do not read Treasury submission. They do not read the Education Act 2023 or the Education Regulation 2024. They do not know what the recurrent commitment of 1.3 or $1.4 billion does to the health vote, to the agriculture vote, or to the rural road vote. They do not know that the word free in a speech from the throne is not the same thing as the word free in a school fee ledger. They do not know which levy remained lawful, which boarding costs remain payable, or which uniform, transport, or boat fares remain with the parents. They know one thing only. The Prime Minister said education will be free. And Mr. Speaker, for our people, that is all they need to hear. That is all they will hear. And on the strength of that sentence alone, they will expect it. In the villages of South Guadalcanal, that sentence has already been converted into a household plan. A father has already decided he needs not to plant extra cocoa this season. A mother has already told her daughter that she will return to Palm 3 next year. A family that had been setting aside what little it could cost each month for school fees has already spent it. Those decisions are being taken now in this month on the strength of a policy that does not commence until 2027 and whose machinery does not yet exist. Mr. Speaker, that is why I say with respect, without qualification, that the manner of this announcement is not responsible leadership. It is not responsible to want free education. It is responsible to announce an entitlement to a population that has no means of testing it before the costing published, before the legislation is dropped, before the classrooms are counted, before the teachers are trained. A leader who announces benefit carries a duty to announce its condition in the same breath. If there are limits, Mr. Speaker, there will be limits, then let the government state them now. in plain language, in Pidgin as well as in English, on the radio and in the provinces, and not only within the walls of this chamber. Which fees are abolished and which are not? Which year of schooling are covered and which are not? What our parents will still be required to pay when it begins, and what happens in a year in which the revenue does not arrive? Because, Mr. Speaker, if those limits are discovered by parents at the school gate in January 2027, rather than disclosed by the government in August 2026, then this House will have manufactured a grievance where it intended to copper a gift. And Mr. Speaker, grievances discovered at the school gate in front of a child who has been sent home is not merely a policy failure. On this island, in this country, with our history, it is a risk to public order. Our own experience already tells us this, Mr. Speaker. The national data of recent years shows that despite earlier P3 arrangement, many schools remain underfunded. Infrastructure remained inadequate, and teacher shortage persisted. The policy, although laudable, is not sustainable without substantial and consistent funding. And the international record is not ambiguous. When the government removes school fees, enrollment does not rise gently, it rises sharply. Where classrooms, dormitories, water systems, sanitation, and learning materials were not built ahead of time, schools were forced into overcrowded classrooms and makeshift arrangements, and it was a quality that paid the price. Mr. Speaker, a P3 policy without an infrastructure schedule is not an education plan. It is what I call a ground management plan. We have been seen from the past experience that rapid implementation without adequate planning lead to overcrowded classrooms, underpaid teachers, and run-down infrastructure. Our people deserve quality education, not just access. I therefore make three specific asks of the government. First, on sequencing. If the pre-education policy is not deliberately front-loaded in the rural and provincial schools, a policy designed to expand access will, in operation, concentrated access. Mr. Speaker, I will fill the classroom of Honiara and the empty classroom of the West Coast. The first investment of this policy must be visible in provincial and rural schools, ahead of Honiara, not behind it, and not merely alongside it. Second, on financing. I ask the Honourable Minister of Finance to lay before this House the multi-year financial projection for the pre-education policy. The annual cost and the revenue plan, the sensitivity analysis and the contingency plan for revenue underperformed. Third, on donor dependence, the question remains. For how long will external donors continue to support this program? For how long? What does it if the support diminishes or shifts elsewhere? Mr. Speaker, a recent recurrent entitlement of this scale, which depends on donor financing, in each early year must be carried by domestic revenue in its later years. Otherwise, the sovereign choice of future government of this nation will be exposed to the priorities of external partners who may not share them. We must therefore plan long-term solutions, a broader and further revenue-based targeted tax reform, and discipline expenditure rather than an over-reliance on external funding that is, by its nature, unpredictable. And if this government intended the pre-education policy to bind those who come after it, then it must bring the policy to this House in the form of legislation, not merely announce it in a speech from the throne. An entitlement of this scale should rest on law and not on slogan. Mr. Speaker, in the same manner, the potential drop in the production of copra and cocoa, the two vital export commodities for this country, raises a real concern for constituency such as mine. Copra and cocoa are traditional pillars of our local economy. In South Guadalcanal, they are not a sector. They are how school fees were paid, how church contributions were made, how transport was supported, and how families survive between harvest. While families are rightly excited about the removal of the school fee burden, we must not overlook the long-term implication for the household production and for our export earning. And I'm saying this, Mr. Speaker, I'm saying this because already people of Milo, South Guadalcanal, or Casimina. In fact, they were so excited with the announcement of free education. They were very happy. Free education has really touched the heart of the people there. It really touched the heart of the parents. It touched the heart of the family. And then touching heart of the student. When Blomilo here now, people Blomi approaching me or tell me. Since the government has announced now this is free education, me pala I'm just relieving me pala po copra na yan. I'm relieving me pala po copra, cooking cocoa and copra. Mr. Speaker, the initiative will be weakened. The affected will be appear in the headlines. It will appear 3 years later in a balanced trade and in the emptiness of a village, drying houses. And we very serious something that we must think about him, Mr. Speaker. The speech commit to 10,000 hectares of new cocoa and coconut plantation, to 11 million cocoa trees and more than millions coconut palm, to hybrid varieties, nursery subsidy programs, drying, storage and transport, and to freight subsidy through the Commodity Export Marketing Authority. Those are ambitious commitments, and I welcome them. But ambition is not a schedule. Mr. Speaker, I therefore ask the Honourable Minister for Agriculture and Livestock to disclose to this House the province by province, constituency by constituency rollout plan for that program. How many hectares in which ward, in which years, through which authority, and with what appropriation. Mr. Speaker, I say plainly to this House, if agriculture officers are to be posted to every constituency, as the speech promises, then let South Guadalcanal be among the best, because a policy that arrives in the constituency nearest the road system am always best here. And the outer coastlines last is not a national policy. This system have historically supported many families, and many disruption must be managed with careful planning so that the transition is sustainable and does not lead to unemployment or economic hardship. Mr. Speaker, another point I wish to raise in this emphasis is the speech, infrastructure and environment. While both are crucial, we must ensure that development balance environmental stewardship. South Border Canal has forests, rivers, and coastal resources, but it faces growing problem from too much logging and land damage. My people live downstream of where the trees are cut. When a river turns brown, it's not just a number in Honiara, it's the water a village drinks, the peace in the reef, and the garden a mother plants. That is why I welcome the promise in the speech, such as using science to set safe logging limit, creating more protected area, gradually stopping round log export by 2032, cracking down on illegal logging and corruption, and respecting landowners by giving them a fair share of their benefits. But I also urge the government to prioritize community-led conservation and sustainable resource management rather than blanket development programs that overlook local wisdom and land rights. Mr. Speaker, and I ask this House to be honest about enforcement. We have had strong words on logging before. What has been missing is not policy. What has been missing is compliance, monitoring capacity in the province, and the political will to apply the law equally to the powerful and to the ordinary Solomon Islanders. Mr. Speaker, the law must be applied equally. We cannot preach the rule of law in this chamber while tolerating regulatory failure outside it. That is not anti and risk investment, that is responsible resource governance. On land, I note the government intention to bring forward 5 bills. They are customary land governance, on land dispute resolution, on national housing, on land information system, and on coastal maritime governance. Mr. Speaker, no members from Guadalcanal can speak about customary land without also speaking about peace. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission identified unresolved customary land dispute as a root cause of our national trauma. Mr. Speaker, as long as those disputes remain unsolved, our 25 years of patient peace building remain vulnerable. I welcome this intent, Mr. Speaker. Please bring those bills, but bring them with genuine consultation on the ground, in the language our people speak, in the villages where the land actually lies, not through consultation program that only ends at the boundary of Honiara Road system. This is because land legislation draft without the landowner is not a reform, it is a risk. Mr. Speaker, I welcome the infrastructure agenda, and I welcome in particular the commitment in the speech to reopen Ross Airport, including Abu Abu. Let me say to this House what that single line in the speech means to my constituency. It means a woman in obstruct labor on the Weather Coast has a route to the National Referral Hospital that does not depend on boat and the sea state. It means a teacher posted to a remote school can actually take up the posting. It means a public officer can be supervised. and a project can be inspected. So, Mr. Speaker, I will hold the government to that line. I ask the Honourable Minister of Infrastructure to advise this House of the schedule and appropriation and the responsible agency for reopening of Abu Abu and to reopen progress in this House and a report to this House, Mr. Speaker. The same applies to the maritime commitment. Wharves and jetty throughout the provinces and extension of the franchise shipping scheme to all uneconomical routes are exactly the kind of intervention that change rural economics. And on road, Mr. Speaker, preventive maintenance is mentioned in the speech. And I welcome it because it is the single most neglected discipline in our infrastructure history. We build, we celebrate, and then we watch it deteriorate for want of a maintenance vote. Government is continuous. The taxpayer owns the infrastructure, not the political party of the day. The proper language of leadership is we inherit it, we will improve it, and we will finish it. Mr. Speaker, regarding the government's announced reset of our foreign relations, I pose the critical question, why reset? Our traditional partners, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and our regional bodies were never truly chased away or ignored. They have been here all along. They were here through the tension. They were here through Ramsey. They were here through the pandemic. They were here through the 2021 unrest. They are in our schools, our clinics, our roads, and our police force today. No anyone chasing mo kata. What has changed is not their presence. What has changed is the level and the consistency of engagement, which has too often been reactive rather than proactive on both sides. Our partners have been steady allies, and there is a risk that unnecessary narrative of reset creates doubt about our consistency and in the eyes of others about our sovereignty. A nation that announces a reset every time a government change teaches its partner to wait out the electoral cycle rather than invest in the country. The real issue is not resettling relationship. It is ensuring that they are active, mutually beneficial, and grounded in respect and genuine partnership, not in strategic convenience. Mr. Speaker, I support the principle stated in the speech that we remain friends to all and enemy to none, and that the national interest must come first. I support the Prime Minister's engagement in Canberra, in Wellington, in Port Moresby, and his assumption for the chairmanship of the Pacific Island Forum. But I add three conditions which I believe this House must insist upon. First, continuity. Our foreign policy must be a policy of the state, not of the coalition of the day. I urge the government to work towards a bipartisan national foreign policy framework that survives changes of government. Secondly, transparency. Any treaty-level partnership, including the treaty-level partnership with Australia now under discussion, and any major security agreement affecting our sovereignty, our defense, our policing, or our maritime jurisdiction must be brought before this House for proper constitutional, legal, and parliamentary scrutiny before it is signed or not after. Third benefit, our engagement abroad must translate it into a livelihood at home. If a journey to Canberra or Tokyo does not eventually appear as a market for cocoa, a buyer for processed tuna, a scholarship for our children, or a walk on a rural coastline, then it was ceremony and not strategy. That is not anti-partner, Mr. Speaker. That is what sovereign government means. Mr. Speaker, in light of the policy direction articulated in the speech from the throne on strengthening provincial governance and ensuring effective decentralization, I note the government's plan to undertake a review and consultation process on a revenue sharing proposal. Mr. Speaker, I wish to draw the attention of this House to a fact that should save this government both time and money. A draft bill on this matter already exists. The government should consider revisiting the refining that draft rather than commencing the exercise afresh. Doing so would have considerable time and resources and would enable a far more efficient pathway to implementation. The speech rightly emphasizes the importance of empowering provincial government and fostering community-led development. Mr. Speaker, that aligns with the broader goal of decentralizing authority and improving service delivery at the local level. Integrating the existing draft bills into this review will ensure coherence with the government's own commitment to provincial empowerment and will avoid unnecessary duplication and delay. Mr. Speaker, decentralization is not an administrative preference. It is the difference between a citizens of Goroka province receiving a service where they live and a citizens being told to travel to Honiara for it. I therefore urge the government to leverage the work already done on that draft to advance this reform swiftly in accordance with the vision expressed by His Excellency the Governor-General, and to build a more inclusive and responsive governance framework for all provinces and communities across Solomon Islands. And let me say the same of the Constituency Development Development Fund Act 2023. The speech committed to reviewing the Act, gazetting its regulation, and advancing community-led auditing. I support all three, but the regulations have been outstanding for some time. Let this be the parliament in which they are finally gazetted, so that constituency funds are governed by law rather than by practice. Mr. Speaker, finally, I call upon the government to be transparent and accountable. By many are made, the true measure will be in the delivering tangible results that lift the living standards of our people. We need clear timelines, measurable targets, and mechanisms for monitoring progress, especially for the policies that affect most vulnerable. Mr. Speaker, before I resume my seat, I must offer a caution which I offer respectfully. And in this interest of this nation, we must be very careful with any intent to use or ride on our emotions. Hope is the most powerful resource a government has. It is also the most fragile. When a family in South Goroka is told that education will be free, they do not hear a policy statement. They hear a promise made to their children. When that promise arrives in a classroom of 40 students with no textbook, no water tanks, and no trained teachers, what is broken is not a policy, it is trust. And I say this as a member from Guadalcanal, on an island that knows that what follows when community come to believe that the state has forgotten them. Playing with people's emotion can be a serious and dangerous weapon if it is not handled properly. Expectation, once raised and then disappointed, does not simply fade, it hardens. So let the government raise expectation only to the level it can meet, and then let it meet them. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I remain hopeful that this government will move beyond rhetoric and deliver genuine change. Change that is sustainable, inclusive, and rooted in the realities of our rural Solomon Islands. Mr. Speaker, I wish to reiterate what my colleagues have highlighted on this important declaration by the Governor-General, that the speech from the throne is only the start of work, not an achievement. I also agree that the real test begins after the speech, after the budget is tabled and when the government implementation of its programs finally reach my people in the West Coast. Mr. Speaker, let us work together to build a future where development benefits all, not just a few, where the wealth of our land, our forest, our sea reaches the people who live beside them, and where promise translated to tangible improvement in the daily lives of our people. May God continue to guide the work of this government, the work of the opposition and independent group, and may God bless Solomon Island. I resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Member for South Gordon. Let me give the floor to the Honourable MP for West Arare and the Minister for Women, Youth and Traditional Government. Have the floor, sir.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise as the Honourable Member for West Arare constituency on behalf of my chiefs, church leaders, men, women, leaders, youths, people with special needs, and as the Minister for the Ministry of Women, Youth, Children and Family Affairs, sir, to express and register my sincere gratitude for the opportunity accorded to me to respond to the address delivered by His Excellency the Governor-General of the Solomon Islands, Sir David Tiva Kapu, during the speech from the throne. So I join colleagues that they have spoken before me to congratulate Honourable David Keener, Member of Parliament for South New Jersey, Rentover, Tetipari, for the election to the Deputy Speaker. I wish him well, Mr. Speaker. I also join my colleagues to congratulate the Makira, the Premier of Premier Executive and people of Makira Province on their second appointed day. So, on the same note, I also, on behalf of my people, congratulate the Honourable Premier, His Executive and good people of Guadalcanal Province for celebrating the second appointed day as well, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me begin by acknowledging the Governor-General for delivering the Great Coalition Government Policy Program and highlighting significant issues of my ministry, as well as reaffirming the ministry's commitments and strategies to address them. As a ministry and a government, we bear an intrinsic responsibility to provide services to our citizens, ensuring their safety and securing their future soon. This responsibility demands a prudent approach in the utilization of our limited resources for the common good and benefit of all. Mr. Speaker, at the outset, allow me a moment to ask you a question, sir. Simple question, no more. Sir, when you hear or come across the name of my ministry, the Ministry of Women, Youth, Children and Family Affairs, what really runs through your mind, sir? What really is the honest perspective you throw and have? Out of the government portfolios, I observed that the Ministry of Women, Youth, Children, Family Affairs is a portfolio that least attracts interest of members of parliament. I was in my constituency a few months ago, sir. Some of the elders brought me come, then they asking me why I ended up in the Ministry of Women since I am a chief. Mr. Speaker, I also observed during my terms in Parliament, Prime Ministers has been allocating this portfolio to female members of Parliament. The ministry is regarded as minor and not that important as others. Even its budget resources allocated by the past government, sir, has been very minimal. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to correct this fundamental misconception of the ministry and rightfully place it in our government structure and attach to it the core function and responsibility it has and represents. It is the Ministry of Women, Youth, Children and Family Affairs, sir. Name speak well of itself, and no anyone should mistake more from now, as Minister Hemi sharing Kamtintinia. Maybe the ministry name, to be fair and accorded clarity for some of the people, sir, should be renamed. The Ministry of Women, Men, Youth, Children and Family Affairs. Because men no more know their name. You follow us, Martin, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Governor-General articulated it perfectly when he stated that Solomon Islands is a youthful nation. It is a well-established fact, sir, that 3/4 of our total population is under the age of 34 months. 34. This represents around 70% of the entire population. Children account for 43% of our total population. More than half of the nation's young demographic resides in rural regions. This represents well the importance of the ministry. Nation Blimtola Hem, Yan Tumas Asimto Ewan Sabe. Let us reflect on this, Mr. Speaker. You know well, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the location and living conditions of individuals have significant implications for their lives. Beyond the lack of essential services in these areas, as been alluded to by earlier speakers, unemployment remains the most pressing challenge. There is a grave scarcity of opportunities for earning a decent and honest livelihood. Confronted with limited job prospects, many young individuals fall prey to issues such as low self-worth and a feeling of despair, which often leads to antisocial behaviors, including violence, involvement in crime, substance abuse, and escalating tension among adolescents and youth. Adding to the challenges faced by young people are the urban pool factors. attraction that consistently lure large numbers of youths from rural regions to major urban hubs, particularly Honiara. This one I'm through now, Mr. Speaker. It's a real challenge. If this trend continues unchecked, rural-urban migration could create significant pressures on urban settings, particularly concerning social, cultural, economic, law and order issues within city-based families and communities. It is for these reasons, Mr. Speaker, sir, that my ministry, through the government, has made substantial commitment to implement effective measures aimed at addressing youth development and empowerment throughout the nation. The three-tier policy framework for youth development in the Solomon Islands ensures that every young person is afforded the opportunity to contribute to social, cultural, economic, political, and spiritual advancement of the country. Mr. Speaker, sir, as you are aware, under the Great Coalition Government, we are committed to formulating a dedicated piece of legislation, the Youth Bill, this year. This bill will create specific regulations governing youth development in the country, Mr. Speaker, and hopefully encourages appropriate resource allocation as well. Additionally, a nationwide summit will address issues impacting young people will be organized. We will call on all like-minded people who have the issues of youth at heart to convene and discuss way forward to address the ever-increasing issues affecting our youth. Mr. Speaker, the establishment of provincial youth and children resource centers will continue. The ministry has been supporting provinces to build youth and children centers in the headquarters. These centers, as you know, are intended to provide space for the youth to carry out administration of their activities. Provinces, if listen, come identify land, within the ministry. This is a program and project themselves must achieve them. The Great Coalition Government will continue to strengthen the financial capabilities of the National Youth Congress and the Young Entrepreneurship Council of Solomon Islands, YEXI, to ensure they can operate effectively. Mr. Speaker, concerning children, the demographic profile of the country presents both significant opportunity and a shared responsibility. Investing in children through quality health care, quality education, child protection, nutrition, and social services is not only essential to safeguarding their rights and well-being, but it is also fundamental to building a healthy, educated, resilient, and productive nation. In this regard, sir, I wish to resist my ministry's support to all ministries as their policies are about the well-being of people, families of this country. So, me like for mention him and commend him some for ministries for resources blockaded through the budget, sir, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Agriculture, Police, provinces, traditional and ecclesiastical, just to name the few. Every ministry blow women, every ministry blow youth, every ministry blow children, every ministry blow daddy, him under family affairs, Mr. Speaker, no mistake. And that is where this ministry has been sitting, Mr. Speaker. So, allow me to briefly comment on questions raised in the chamber about great collusion-free education. Minister to finish lohem, but I would like to also share. Yes, all we know is by him costly. It will need education infrastructure. This policy will need teachers. By him need education materials. Technological investments, salary, you name it, least way you find really coming through one year. Mr. Speaker, question Blominoma, sir, my question is, when should we start free education for our children? I am a minister of children. When? Is it when the above mentioned are at hand? Imtal counting? Imtal kolukimokata in before imtal starting free education for our children? Mr. Speaker, or when our children birth per day is below 40, is below 30, below 20, or 10, Mr. Speaker, 10 by imtal starting free education? Work on the details of the policy is in progress, as confirmed by the Honourable Minister of Education. So, me like for using lo here wisdom lo arekanaya, metaphor hem say osem, ura ke para, Mr. Speaker, hem minim osem ya. If hemi crayfish, you put him qualify noma, hem sense kalana, hem red, hem white na. Crayfish ya. Okay, things here, Mr. Speaker, will take time. The minister say it's in progress now. No time up to us. Yeah, how many years now? Great care coalition him inside the government, Mr. Speaker. So, him no crayfish, yeah? We all know. Let's be honest and let's have humility, Mr. Speaker. And Minister him work, task force worker, okay, something by him come, or timely, how many months no more. So, imtola, hands in together for imtola, supporting Mokata, beginning imtola in our country in this great core policy to life. Okata woman as MP for South Kuala, I mean, true now. Me sit down the ministry now, lens blow. Okata women him just discussing me, Mr. Speaker. First time here, meeting said me chief here. By me no enter upload ministry of women. Me chief. Ose me everyone no here chief, that's why even no life for kolo ministry. No ko okata tabu blow me him. No sabe. Stop waiting me powerless. Sir, continue him also stop waiting me. But time me kasim lo dia na, me say, ay, true now. True now. Lebet misconception lo me too. First time. Sir. So, hemi ministry for me, everyone must fight hard for Kasim. Yeah, must Kasim. Sir, imtola tok hemi clear. Me commenting everyone for every tok imtola. Share him come, Mr. Speaker. Imtola speak in volumes. Lotis Falono Chamber on varieties of issues. Yes, that is what we are elected Kamlo Parliament for, Mr. Speaker. The point is, imtala staplo here, some fala mi fala all manai. How many terms? Me 4 terms na. Some fala 3, some fala 2, Mr. Speaker. Mostly me lo here, in cabinet finish. You follow me minister finish, Mr. Speaker. And so, Lord, last sitting blame tola, me say osem. Im tol everyone me lo here heminim. What na by me hide lo hem moi? What I have done in Parliament for the last 4 terms, it's known to you, even known to the people of this country. Last time, yeah, metaphor me use him now. You hide behind me trip, yeah? You think say you hide, but every part of you may look him no, you may everyone. You're no longer hiding. 4 times, 3 times, him speak volume of you. Even okay things where you mean 12 to them, him secret. No, him no longer secret. God first, him sabe, and then others sabe too. Him too sabe. So, Mr. Speaker, nothing is hidden, and him stand exposed. We must be conscious and mindful of that, Mr. Speaker. I wish to remind us also that time him talk to us, pointing finger. How many fingers na point Mike? 3, natural, no him natural. That's the way me not talk to us because 3 fale pointing me all the way no, Mr. Speaker. On termination of permanent secretaries, hemi through concern hemi raised, but the great coalition government hemi make a decision for hemi terminate as well articulated on the floor of Parliament, Mr. Speaker. But lo 4 times blow me of save him. What time happened? Or got permanent races, or got not terminated by the former governments. Or got Mr. Speaker, or got a move more got a call special duty. And what no special duty? I'm a place for rest and then just corner, yeah? Yeah. A transit point for by contract terminated. That happened. The choice is terminate him. Or the choice is to is put him law. Transit in place, yeah. Then, okay, people blame Tala, lost permanent secretary. Contracts blocked, terminated. Okay, they were just on special duty, Mr. Speaker. Results same no more. End up contract being terminated. So, stability in Parliament, me levet mention also. Me asking everyone, let's make this Parliament stable now. And by law, no more, imtel amend him. Yeah, some follow imtel no select for amend him because imtel like for imtel no stable. I, as the Minister for Women, Youth, Children and Family Affairs, okay, need stability in Parliament. Make him imtel save him okay. Imtel save imtel protocol him finish. So imtel make him amendments. Yeah. We amend so that we provide this the stability in Parliament and imtel saving better our people, Mr. Speaker. My ministry therefore commend the Honourable Prime Minister and the great coalition government for the ambitious policy for our children, youth and the family affairs. By me support him always because me minister lo oketa now. Everyone ya oketa lo hard do me must support him. Anything where you meet him lo here, hemi by hemi, save him, touching people, bring him to serve by member for West Island, I support him now. Support him now, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for those ambitious policies, sir, to challenge us so we can work outside the box. Outside box, no inside box all the way, no, move out, walk outside the box. Let us commit and spend money, invest on our people. Let us challenge ourselves to do good. Something good, imtel challenge for imtel to him. No allow imtel for imtel to him about something where imtel no like him to, but imtel to him. So, as we strive to achieve our national development aspirations and fulfill our commitments under the Convention on the Rights of the Children and the Sustainable Development Goals, sustained investment in children must remain a national priority. Mr. Speaker said, every child has the right to survive, thrive, learn, and reach their full potential, ensuring a strong and more prosperous future for the Solomon Islands. Guided by this principle, my ministry is reviewing key legislation affecting children including the Islanders Marriage Act, the Labour Act, the Youth Justice Bill. We are also taking action to combat child abuse and exploitation, with particular attention to the needs of girls and vulnerable children, and implementing the Child Protection Community Facilitation Manual. Children are vital to our nation's future. The family remains the foundation of our society, supported by parental care and policies that uphold traditional values while responding to evolving realities. Mr. Speaker, addressing the persistent and underrepresentation of women in politics, especially in provincial assemblies, remain a key focus. We propose legal initiatives such as dedicated temporary special measures, TSM bill, playing a central role. The continued lack of women in leadership and governance positions poses a significant development concern for Solomon Islands, one that the government is committed to resolving. I am pleased to report to this House that progress on drafting the bill has been consistent, and with 2028 election in view, it remains a realistic milestone. Mr. Speaker, addressing violence against women and girls continues to present significant challenges. So, in our homes, there is great, peaceful, and loving environment present. Lo house blame tulse. Lo house ya, hem na okata name simta kolem. Yes, honey. Yes, sweetie. Yes, ice cream. Yes, love. Yes, daddy. Yes, mommy. Hem na lo house. Sir, good. Very nice. How comes that sometimes in the same home, there is argument, there is quarrel, there is swearing, there is soccer, and there is boxing? The violence and abuse of women and girls, Mr. Speaker. Yes, honey, sweetie, love, ice cream, daddy, and mommy should always stop now. Practice him and leave him all the way. 24 hours. No hide him, no serve him. Sareka said, so, one fala wisdom totok lo areka mo im tol karem, Mr. Speaker, hem toko osem. The truth is not in what you say. It is deep down in your heart. That's the right time you say, sweet mommy, ice cream, but rawa mo behind. Because lives no matter mo something. Truth blow you hem inside. Deep inside. So, you prepare about him that one. It is therefore essential to develop a prevention strategy focused on fostering positive behavioral change to eliminate trans violence. My ministry recognizes that gender-based violence is widespread and deeply entrenched, and we acknowledge the need for further action. This includes tackling the root causes of violence and strengthening efforts to prevent it before it occurs, in order to better protect women and girls. Let us pray harder to amend ourselves in attitude and behavior, Mr. Speaker. Gender-responsive budgeting recognizes and addresses how government budgets affect women and men differently. It aims to correct historical inequities, advance social justice, and support the realization of human rights. Rather than creating separate budgets for women, the approach focuses on allocating resources in ways that actively reduce gender disparities. It is important that everyone understands that At this juncture, I wish to share my delight that the great coalition has pledged support behind my ministry. This time, okay, para luksawin na. Yeah, ministry need for support. You support him whole Solomon Island na, yes, sir? Whole Solomon Island. Yeah. And thank him, Finance Minister, and para acknowledge him, Prime Minister. So, look at no surprise, lo budget, lo ministry, lo me him na bahayas mo, lo next appropriations. Solomon Islands is a party to the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW. As such, the country has committed to eliminating discrimination against women, reforming discriminatory laws, and regularly reporting on its progress. Mr. Speaker, we are outcome of families, right? We live and we love our mothers. Imtal eluan hem, lo house blayu, lo family blayu, mami para number one. Yeah, okatotas imtal labi mo katumas sel. And okata aunties, okat cousins. Therefore, inside the country, there should be no violence against women and against girls. Mayuno sa doing violence against him household blayu, mayuno extend him kolorot lo public. That is my plea, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, there should be no violence against women and girls. The love in our families should and must be extended to all women and girls, no matter where we start. My ministry, on behalf of the government, is responsible for fulfilling these obligations, including implementation and reporting under the Convention. In April 2025, the Solomon Islands government took part in an important dialogue with the UN CEDAW committee regarding its implementation efforts. This session was held in Fiji, making a departure from the usual location in Geneva. Mr. Speaker, let me finish by saying that families form the foundation of every successful nation, nurturing individuals who go on to become leaders, innovators, and caregivers. Robust family units contribute to stable communities, which in turn support the growth of prosperous societies. Studies consistently indicate that children raised in supportive family settings tend to achieve better education outcomes, display healthier social interactions, and play a more constructive role in economic development. Yet, families today face numerous challenges: economic pressures, shifting gender roles, and the erosion of traditional support systems. My ministry, through the Family Affairs Division, works to reinforce family structures through policies focused on supporting parents, safeguarding children, and strengthening bonds across generations. We support initiatives that encourage shared responsibilities, ensure equal opportunities, and challenge outdated stereotypes. Families are not merely beneficiaries of public service. They are vital contributors to societal progress. Mr. Speaker, our mission is rooted in the belief that strong families form the foundation of a healthy, thriving society, thus the need to strengthen and mold a strong family. My ministry is working on strengthening collaborations with churches and other stakeholders to better address family affairs and issues. We must do this together. I am therefore making this plea and call upon churches, community leaders, civil society, the private sector, and every individual to play their part. Let us champion parental support programs to equip caregivers with skills and resources, gender-responsive policies that empower both men and women in family and societal roles, and community networks that provide safe nets for vulnerable families accessibility for people with special needs, and the churches that mentor good, responsible citizens. It is high time we commit to enhance capacity to achieve inclusivity. When we strengthen families and people with special needs, we strengthen our communities and we strengthen our nation. This is nation building. Mr. Speaker, we wanted this at the outset. Let us work together to ensure that every family has the opportunity to thrive, contribute, and lead the way towards more just and prosperous future. At this juncture, Mr. Speaker, sir, I, on behalf of the Great Coalition Government, appeal to you, Mr. Speaker, to all my dear colleague MPs, to the citizens and friends of Solomon Islands to join my Ministry of Women, Youth, Children, Family Affairs in commitment to 1. Advance gender equality. 2. End all forms of violence against women and girls. 3. Develop our youth to achieve their full potential. 4. Protect and promote the interests and rights of our children. 5. Enhance capacity in research and data analysis on the Ministry of Women, Youth, Children and Family Affairs. And 6. Enhance capacity in inclusivity for our people with special needs. Mr. Speaker, sir, I again thank the Governor-General for raising issues of pertinent importance to my ministry. And thank you, sir, for giving me and my ministry the opportunity to speak. I beg to resume my seat. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Member for West Harare. And with that, I will now suspend the Parliament. We'll resume a meeting at 1:30 this afternoon.